Good morning and welcome back to Yankees Content Central. And today we're going to be recapping the trade that went down kind of late last night. Went down at like 10:15, which was super late for trades. I got the notification from Heyman, and it's like Jose Trevino traded to the to the Reds. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, what just happened? Okay, so that's something. So I figured I'd go live today instead of last night because this was easier, and I know other channels were going live last night. So in the trade, the Reds received catcher Jose Trevino. The Yankees got right-handed pitcher Fernando Cruz and backup catcher Alex Jackson. Alex Jackson is awful offensively. He's a very good defensive catcher. He's more so going to be in there when Wells needs a day off. That's his role heading into 2024, if he's even the primary catcher, the primary backup catcher. There are also players in the Yankee minor leagues that could fill that void for the Yankees, which might be better options for them to use their minor leaguers. I think it's JC Akara. His name will be on another page here in a second. He has very good defensive and a solid offensive numbers. He's in the Yankee minor leagues. He is on the 40 man, so he might be a decision. Alex Jackson might have just been, you know what, we need to get this deal done. Let's throw him in. But Fernando Cruz is the interesting one. So Cruz in Cincinnati for 2024. He pitched in 69 games, had a 4.86 ERA in 66 and two-thirds innings, gave up 54 hits, 24 home runs, which is that's high, but he struck out 109 in 66 innings, which is a lot. He walked 35. That's a little high. And his WHIP was 1.335. So solid numbers. The one thing that scares me is the home runs. You also have to remember, and I wrote this in the reel I shared this morning. Cincinnati is the Statcast rates Cincinnati as the most hitter-friendly ballpark in all of baseball. It is the easiest park to hit in. I don't know why. I thought it would be Colorado, but Statcast rates Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark, or American Family Field, one of the two, as the easiest park to hit in. So that also takes into effect his ERA on the road was lower, about a one run lower on the road. It was around a 3.8. Opposed to at home, it was close to 5. So you kind of see the shift there where, okay, at home it's super high. On the road, it's actually fine. This is a Map Lake project. I also saw this morning someone who covers the Reds said that David Bell, who was the former Reds manager, overused Cruz throughout the whole season and pretty much ran him into the ground. And you see towards the end of the season, if you go to MLB.com, that the ERA kept climbing in his last appearances. That was a little worrisome when I saw it, but then when I was told, oh, okay, he was overused, he didn't get many days off, therefore, he was giving up hits and runs. Maybe, he's a Matt Blake project. He could very much be the next Luke Weaver, who came in here with an ERA of 6 and was the closer in the playoffs. I'm not saying he's going to be the closer in the playoffs, but his stuff is pretty filthy. Hold on, I forgot to take the audio off. His stuff is filthy. I put this together last night into this morning. Shared this on my social media. If you don't follow me on Instagram, Facebook, X, Threads, YouTube, I didn't share it to, and Blue Sky. Follow me on all those platforms. I primarily use Twitter, Threads, Facebook, Instagram. I'm trying to get better with posting in Blue Sky, but they have some restrictions on how much text can fit in. His stuff is nasty. That splitter is devastating. The Yankees have two of the best pitchers in Williams and Cruz of off-speed pitches in baseball, both from the same division. no less, but they have the best off-speed pitches in baseball in terms of whiff rate. One of the problems last season, if you may recall, with the Yankee bullpen, especially down the stretch, they didn't strike out batters. There was too much contact, balls in play. Balls in play find holes. We knew that with Holmes. I'm not going to sit here and be a Cleon supporter because I didn't like him. But a lot of the time, it wasn't his fault. Balls got put in play by mistake, or not by mistake. That's how he pitches. He pitches to contact, and the Yankee bullpen desperately needed and just got two guys who don't pitch to contact. They pitch to strike you out. They are not trying to put that ball in play. They are trying to strike you out. And they needed that desperately. I'd rather have guys be struck out in late in the game and then balls put in play and then booted or dropped or whatever the case may be. Even though the way it looks, the defense is going to be a lot better. But still, I don't want to take that risk if I'm the Yankees. So, Max Goodman, who is a beat reporter around the Yankees, tweeted this out last night. Here's an updated look at the Yankees bullpen after tonight's trade with the Reds. Devin Williams, from the sounds of it from Boone the other day, will be probably the primary closer. Weaver will get save opportunities if Williams is unavailable. Loizaga should be healthy by late April, early May. Fernando Cruz, Ian Hamilton, Mark Leiter Jr., Jake Cousins, who's Kirk Cousins' cousin, Scott Efros, and Clayton Beeter. So Clayton Beeter's kind of the dark horse coming up through the minor leagues. He had some appearances this past season, but he was IL'd most of the year. I actually liked what I saw from him. He looked very, very comfortable, very good. I'm excited for him. This is a dominant bullpen. You have five of the best relievers in baseball, 4 or 5 of the best relievers in baseball on this list. And if we get the version of Mark Leiter Jr. that we got in the postseason, which is why everyone's like, trade him for low. I actually want to keep Mark Leiter Jr. Because if we get the version that we just got in the playoffs, he's a force to be reckoned with. He really is. And I'm excited to see what else he brings. So this is from New York Yankee Prospect Watch. Alec Jackson is a light-hitting catcher. If you're frustrated with Trevi's bat, good grief. He's not going to be there to hit. We know this. It's not a platoon. What the Yankees pretty much admitted last night by saying okay to this trade. Number one, Trevino was here for 3 seasons, 22, 23, 24. I thank him for his 3 years. He was he was a gentleman. I'm happy he's gone. The marriage between him and the Yankees had to end. He didn't hit. He was, not very good defensively this past season. There were times this season where he would be catching, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? Especially after that Boston game where they stole 9 bases on him. I know part of it was Stroman in that game, but they stole 9 bases. He couldn't throw a runner out. And, even in the playoffs, he couldn't throw runners out. And if you're in a big spot, Yankee fans who've been around for a while, I don't want to bring it up, but I will, 04, throwing a batter out in a big spot could be the difference in a series. And he couldn't throw runners out. And it became a problem for the Yankees. It became such a problem. And his bat wasn't good, and he wasn't getting consistent starts. And no doubt in my mind, his bat would have improved had he gotten consistent starts. No doubt. I think he would have been miles better if he was starting, 6 days a week, 5 days a week. But, he wasn't. So they gave Wells, and Wells' bat kind of woke up. And Wells was very good until he got hit on the hand, and then he wasn't. The upside to Wells is huge. He's young. He showed you he can catch a lot of games. He was very good. Trevino was being paid a lot of money. Wells is making league minimum. Why, and I get this from a business standpoint, why would you pay someone that much money if you're going to use the guy who's making league minimum? So, Alan Jackson is making league minimum heading into 2025. JC Escara is the catcher in the minor leagues. He brings huge offensive potential. I forgot to mention Ben Rice came up originally as a catcher. They had so many catchers, so they're like, hey, we're going to try you and your athleticism over there at first. He was a very good first baseman. The offensive numbers weren't really there for most of it. He could also be the backup catcher. That'd be great for the Yankees to have a backup catcher like Ben Rice that you can use defensively in multiple positions. I don't know who the first baseman's going to be. We're going to get to that briefly in a second because right before I went on, there was a tweet from John Heyman that I want to get to. I was going to try and avoid this, but it came out literally 10 minutes before I went live, and I'm like, all right, can't really avoid this one. We don't know who the first baseman's going to be heading into 25. Obviously, Walker went off the board yesterday. He went to Houston. I didn't personally want him. I thought a 3 or 4 year deal for him, that much money, he's getting old. I personally wouldn't have made that deal. I get the draft picks. I get the international bonus money if they're going to try for Roki Sasaki, which the Yankees had a secret meeting on Thursday. No one reported that meeting. They all reported the Mets. And Heyman's like, oh, yeah, right, the Yankees did too. Yeah, that happened. And the Yankees are apparently advancing to round 2. I wouldn't get too excited because it looks like he's going to the West Coast, but he is picking and choosing what teams he's going to meet with, so it is a good sign that he chose to meet with the Yankees. Phillies. The Phillies asked to meet with him, and he said no. So they are selecting. They're not just taking random meetings. So that's something. But Ben Rice is definitely a backup catcher option. He's one that has major league experience. Would he be the one I start with? I don't really know. All right, so this just came out. This just came out a few minutes ago. 10:43, so about half an hour ago. Paul Goldschmidt is expected to choose a team soon. I don't know what soon is. Could soon be before Christmas. Soon, December 26th. Who knows? The Yankees are interested. Other teams are Arizona, San Francisco, Seattle, and the Mets. He had a solid second half after an awful start. He's great in clubhouse, and this is the key. Very short term. So it was reported from Feinstein yesterday that he wanted a multi-year deal. Obviously, Heyman's not saying that here, so that's something. Maybe he knows from all these teams he's not going to get a major multi-year deal. Nolan Arenado was also rumored last night that if Paul Goldschmidt signs with the Yankees, Nolan Arenado will waive his no-trade clause to come to the Yankees. The Yankees did try and trade. They tried to trade Marcus Stroman to St. Louis for Nolan Arenado, and the Cardinals said, hell no. Now, if I'm the Yankees, if they get this deal done with Goldschmidt, I don't want Arenado. All right, if you're going to take a chance on one veteran, I'd rather it be the veteran first baseman in Paul Goldschmidt or in Carlos Santana, who they're also talking to. I'd rather it be one of the two. Now, to me, flip a coin. They're both good against lefties. They're both good players. They're both veteran first basemen who are very good defensively. I would probably lean more towards Santana because he's a switch hitter, solely because he's a switch hitter. They're both pretty much very similar in a lot of categories. So you really flip a coin. But, if the Yankees acquire Goldschmidt, I'm not going to be mad. But what they need to do, especially because there's no qualifying offer or draft picks attached to him, where that's not going to hold them up from getting Murakami or Roki Sasaki or any other international free agents in the upcoming months. The Yankees intentionally did not get Christian Walker for those reasons, and probably the reasons in the multi-year deal. If he takes a 1-year, $15 million deal with the Yankees, that's all right, that's good. That's a very low ceiling. It's a 1-year sample size. Obviously, if things are going good, you can have that conversation, hopefully after the Yankees win the World Series, hopefully in 25, you can have that conversation with them. Of the teams that are listed, the only real team that was listed, the Yankees are the only real team that have a legitimate shot. And apparently, the reason he's dead set on leaving St. Louis is because he wants one last shot to win. Arizona's where he started, so there might be something sentimental there. They obviously just lost their first baseman. The Mets surprised me because obviously if they get him, they're not getting Pete. I don't know if I'm all high and mighty on Pete. Other people think that Goldschmidt's pretty much a Yankee from that tweet Eamon put out There are other teams in the mix, but the Yankees are probably the front runners right now. I honestly, I wouldn't mind getting him. He's going to be a veteran player. He hits okay. He hits very well against the AL East, and his large sample size against the AL East. He hits very well against them. Let me pull up the numbers here. I saw yesterday he hit super well against the NL East. The AL East, excuse me. I'm like, like that's a big upside here. Paul Goldschmidt in his career at AL East parks, not including Tropicana Field. Obviously, the Yankees will not be playing at Tropicana Field. They'll be playing at George Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. In 124 plate appearances in AL East ballparks, that's Fenway, that's Camden Yards, that's Yankee Stadium, and that's Rogers Center, not Tropicana. 124 plate appearances, batting average 330 with a .908 OPS and a 151 WRC plus. Now, his career numbers at Yankee Stadium in 27 plate appearances, so not as large of sample size. 462 batting average, 1.192 OPS, and a 2.32 WRC plus at Yankee Stadium in his career. Those are fantastic numbers at Yankee Stadium. Now, I'm not saying on like a regular, 81 games playing at Yankee Stadium, he's going to hit almost 500. I don't think that. But obviously, he's used to hitting at Yankee Stadium. That's a very good thing. If he's used to that environment, he's used to hitting at Yankee Stadium. That's a very big upside for the Yankees. I don't know what Santana's numbers look like at Yankee Stadium or other parks. That might be a larger upside because he's in the American League. Goldschmidt has never played in the American League in his career. He was in Arizona and then St. Louis. He's also actually not a bad postseason hitter. I have Savant here. I was looking into this the other day. He hasn't played in the They haven't won a postseason game in a few years. They haven't won. St. Louis has not won a postseason game since 2020, the shortened COVID season. He only played in 2 games. He was hitless in those 2 games. He struck out 4 times. The game before, he was 1 for 3 with 2 walks in 2021. But his career postseason batting average, this is interesting. It's a .261 batting average in the playoffs with 8 home runs. That tracks in 23 games over 6 seasons. That tracks in a 162 game average to 56 home runs. His on base percentage is 3.33 and his OPS is 909. Obviously, it's lower as a Cardinal. They made the postseason 19, 20, 21, 22. Didn't do very well in those appearances, but nonetheless, they're there. He's played for 14 years. He hits about at an average 30 home runs a year. About 100 RBIs a year average. 80 walks a year by average. On average, he's a 289 hitter with 3.81 OPS, a 3.1 OBP, a 510 slugging, and 8.92 OPS. That's huge. If you can get that player, obviously, the OPS last year was 716, but the year before, and he's been on a 2-year regression, it looks like. Now, keep this in mind. He was in St. Louis. They weren't trying, at all. Maybe being in a winning environment where, it's pretty much for the Yankees this season, World Series or bust. We got to ball out to get back. Maybe he wakes up. I'd rather take the chance on him than Arenado. Because with him, all you're losing is money, and it's only 1 season. With Arenado, you're losing prospects, and it's multiple seasons. I'd rather have him than Arenado. If they get him, they need to get a second baseman, a real second baseman. I don't care if it's a trade. I don't care if they sign Ha-Seong Kim or Ha-Seong Kim. There are 2 different players, Ha-Seong Kim and Ha-Seong Kim. I don't mind. That's fine. They need to get an actual second baseman. You know, his on base percentage last season was 302. Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt can lead off. If we compare his OBP, I will, in 2024 to Gleyber Torres. I don't know if it's better. I'm going to check right now. It might be. I think it's better. I don't know though, so I'm gonna let it compare the two. But if it's better, you can have him lead off. Oh, come on! Now I don't have Wi-Fi. You can have him lead off. OBP. Okay, so Torres was a little bit better, not much. A 330 on base percentage compared to 302. All right, so not much better. So they're right in the same realm. It's not bad. They play in the same amount of games. Goldschmidt did have more home runs and more RBIs and more stolen bases than Torres did. The batting average is very close. OBP is very close. You're pretty much getting a Gleyber Torres with more power. Less WAR though, which is interesting. Torres had one more plate appearance and had like 4 more hits. You're pretty much getting Gleyber Torres part 2, better defense. If you get Paul Goldschmidt, it's the same hitter, better defense. Is that a gamble the Yankees are willing to take? I don't know. If I were them, yes. But that means you need to get an actual second baseman. Just for giggles, I'm going to do Carlos Santana and compare him to Torres as well. I said 330 on base percentage. Yeah, 328. Goldschmidt actually stole more bases, had more RBIs. I think they had the same amount of home runs. Goldschmidt had a higher batting average, which is interesting. If you're going to compare Santana to Goldschmidt looks like had the better season from what I'm seeing. Yeah. The WAR's higher. Goldschmidt played more games, had more hits. Okay, they had the same home runs. Santana had one more. Santana had a couple more RBIs. Obviously, the stolen bases and the batting average were much higher. But on base percentage was about 20 points higher. Slugging was a little bit higher. OPS and OPS plus were both higher. And Santana won the Gold Glove. So obviously the stats are very comparable between these players. So really it's a coin flip for me. Now, obviously, if something goes down, I don't know if it's going to be before Christmas. If it is on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, I'll go live the day after Christmas Day, on the 26th, since I have family things on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. If it is on Monday, I'll try and go live. Hopefully, they get a deal done. If it's today, I'll go live later on. Look out on social media. Give me a follow on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, X, YouTube, and Blue Sky. And thank you so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a very nice day.